Oh, people. I'll tell you something, you are very lucky I was on time for tonight's stream, but it's great to be here on another Brews at 10, here on my left eye. I'm your host Lefty. Hope you're all well this evening, unrushed and relaxed. I was just finishing off putting together some of the latest content, then I had to get the stream in order, of course. Just about made it. Didn't want the old clock on the cup to be running late. So yeah, hope you're brewing nicely tonight. We've got Chris and Andy in the chat already. Nice to see you. Solidari-Tea. Alas people, another Wednesday is upon us, which means another PMQs. And of course, Keith's Catchphrases. The game that we play alongside my initial reaction and analysis. And live face palming. But no, we've got a bit of a game that helps to see us through it. As awful as it's becoming these days. A couple of two other matters, nothing major, just the prospect of World War III rearing its head again. I wasn't on stream, excuse me, but pulled the wire there. I wasn't on stream yesterday, I was just about to say. But that's when the news broke about clashes between India and Pakistan, so I'll take a look at the latest on that. Two nuclear armed states, by the way. One of them just happens to be the most populous country on the planet. A little about that. Let me just take a quick look at my bookmarks, people. Let's see what else we've got coming up. PMQs is the main staple, of course. After that, actually, I'll get onto a poll specifically about Scotland. Cue an incredible segue link here. Speaking of Scottish members of Parliament, there's also going to be a new Pat McFadden experience debuting on tonight's live stream, so hope you enjoy that. I'm not going to give away the guest this week. Right, I'll wait until it plays later on. Hope you enjoy that. Yes, it was putting that together that almost made me late for the stream. Saw some latest polling from north of the border as well. Looks like they've started selecting a new pope also. Might take a little tiny look at the latest on that. I just hope that they're not a Zionist. That's where it ties into our interests here on the Brews at 10. This being a socialist channel made by the left for the left. And that's in case you didn't already know. Okay, has everybody smashed the thumbs up button so far, the like button? Please get smashing. That would be smashing. Figuratively and literally. So, a few other things you can do to help out the channel. Give us a share around your social media. Give us a follow on your social media at MyLeftEyeUK on Blue Sky, Mastodon, or Twitter if you're still on there. Yeah, and please check out some of the previous content if you're not up to speed. And jump on the comments while you're at it, that'd be awesome. Thanks a lot, people. Speaking of awesome people, it wouldn't be a live stream without a special thanks to all the members on the channel, of course. Thank you very much to everybody. Thank you for helping us get towards this goal. Just a short way away. Apologies, there are a couple of names going onto this list as well. I didn't have time to update before I came on stream. That's how close it was. So thanks again. There were a few people who became members on the last live stream on Monday via gifted memberships, so I'll be adding those names to this list. Thanks again to those of you who gifted memberships lately, renewed your own memberships. We saw another great celebration in the chat on Monday with members celebrating several months. That's great to see. Brew Crew. Continuing to speak of good people, we've got the live chat up, just the logo there. Andy, thanks for the gifted membership, and Elwido, who was on stream on Monday, was it, or on the Sunday live stream very recently. I do recall them being in the chat, so enjoy your gifted membership. Thanks again, Andy. And just pertaining to your question there, Andy, there could be something upcoming about the channel's nemesis. We may have found a nemesis to my left eye. We could be taking a look at that, potentially trying to infiltrate and destroy, or at least show them up. Keep an eye out for that. Might be a real channel, might be some more homegrown light-hearted content, I'm going to call it. Divinia, nice to see you in the chat. Hope you've been well. I think I've got most of the formalities done with. Just another thanks to brother Andy for the gifted membership. And there was just one more formality, of course, to bring up the membership goal, and now I have good reason to adjust it to 80. Thank you very much. 80% of the way to the target. I think the closest we got was mid-high 90s, if I can. I'm just going to go into my analytics right now, just out of curiosity. Just whilst we're waiting for a few others to arrive in the chat. I know I may be clashing with one or two other similarly themed channels. I'll just have a quick look, see. Don't normally do this kind of thing live. Let's see if I can share this. The chart. I've got stats and analytics. Oh yes. You name it. My left eye sees all. Right, so I just go over to memberships and should be able to share this with you. It's just because it led to somewhat of a anti-climax, unfortunately. It looked as though we were over the target, and then for some reason within 24 hours, I think about 20 people's memberships were up for renewal and they didn't renew. They may have been brand new members, as when you gift a membership it randomly selects however many subscribers that you're gifting, so yeah, I'll share this with you. I'm not sharing any personal information or anything. Just a bit of an insight to the channel, I guess. Well, I'll have to go over to the screen.
We now come to Prime Minister's.
No, we're not going. We're not going to PMQs just yet. Oh, I left that open. Bear with me, folks. It's gonna.
We now come to Prime Minister's questions. Matt Bishop.
Sorry about that, people. A bit of a spoiler on who's going to be asking question number 1 on the order paper. Should be this one here. Yeah, so there you can see this is a recent graph. I'll just try and make that a bit bigger, actually, just so you can see the time. There's Elwido, who just joined at the bottom of the screen. So you do get a shout out, you do get to appear on the screen straight away. Alright, so there we were. I'll just come in here so you can see the cursor. And we peaked at, what was it? It's been a little slow. 98, just 2 away. Just 2 away. And then a short time later at 96, which is where this, I'll just move over so you can see that line there where it just sort of slides down. And then we were down to 70s, wasn't it, or high 60s? I couldn't believe it. 74 it went to. Yeah, just like a day. But we're back on the up. Thanks again for that one, Andy. 80. Alright, people, just go back in here because we're going to start with something light-hearted, of course, before we see Starmer and Bad Enoch over the dispatch box. However, this is the first PMQs since the local elections, so I'm really hoping that the contender can put up a good fight on this one. Got 2 or 3 to choose from for the opening lightheartedness. Just trying to think. Yeah, I'll start with this one because it's really good. It's really good. Just saw this. I think it was yesterday. But this guy, he's like 90 odd, and somehow he's got hold of a tank, a Sherman tank, which is actually an American tank. Very successful American tank in the field of battle in World War II, of course. I won't get into. nearly went on a tangent about wartime armament production rates, but I shan't. And he's putting his Sherman tank up against one of Elon Musk's Teslas. So this guy, Ken, he's called. Gives us a proper way to celebrate VE Day, I guess, and I commented on this earlier that it's really the proper way that we should be celebrating, as opposed to the tired old hat, what was it I said, imperial pageantry, you know, that we have to go through every year. And like I said on Sunday stream, I think it was, apparently the most exciting thing that happened was the Queen temporarily lost a water bottle, which was located and pointed out to her by Prime Minister Keir Starmer. But this is a lot better, a lot more interesting, that's for sure, and comes with my left eye's stamp of approval for how you should really be celebrating defeating fascism in Europe. Take it away, Ken. This guy's awesome.
My name is Ken Turner and I'm 98 years old and I've served in the British Army in World War II, as did this Sherman tank. I'm old enough to have seen fascism the first time around. Now it's coming back. Elon Musk, the richest man in the world, is using his immense power to support the far right in Europe. And his money comes from Tesla cars. Well, I've got this message from Mr. Musk. We've crushed fascism before, and we'll crush it again. So let's go, shall we? Let's go.
Yes, Ken. It's a shit Tesla, whatever it is. Well, I'm guessing he owns both. Oh, I should best pause it there in case that song's going to kick in full because of copyright and stuff. Brilliant stuff from Ken. One thing I just want to... Was it right at the beginning? You can see the Tesla there. And he's actually managed to get that license plate. He's managed to get fascism as a license plate. It might be it's probably fake, isn't it, to be honest? It's probably a fake one. Probably won't get that from the DVLA. There's not even any numbers in it, you know, it just says it. Yeah, I'm almost certain that's fake. I'm assuming this is his Tesla as well. That'd be quite funny if it wasn't. I just want to let's just watch it go over one more time. Why not? He says, padding out the stream. Just skip forward to where he goes for it. It's a nice execution, I think. It's real classic. Yeah, that's how you do it. He's loving it. If that is how people his age want to have fun, then fair play to them, and I think that they should. And this should be nationalised. This should be supported through taxation. How's your granddad doing? Oh, yeah, he's just retired. Doing pretty well. He's off down at the at the tank crushing centre, or whatever they call it. I'll think of something, or one of you in the chat probably will. Gary Garner, thanks for joining us in the chat. That's a good point. Only the super rich might be driving cars in 15 or 20 years. Who knows? Well, I don't want to imagine what the climate's going to be like in 15 to 20 years on the way that we're heading for a start. I know that Musk hasn't got the solutions. So yeah, people like Ken should have their freedom in retirement and be able to symbolically crush fascism via an apartheid South African's vehicle. Don't know how much they go for, but it's probably worth it out of his pension. I don't know. Starting to wonder how he acquired it. I don't think, I'm not implying that he nicked it or anything. It's just very good. Very good stuff. Ken, what was it? Ken. It says his name here. Ken Turner, was it?
My name is Ken Turner.
Ken Turner, yes, Ken Turner. Fair play to you. Fair play to you, old boy. Very good. Oh, I got that from Led by Donkeys, by the way. Should have said as well. I'm not sure if they posted it. I'm not sure if they filmed it, but that's where it came from. That's how it ended up on my desk. Definitely check out Led by Donkeys as well. They've done other things in the past where they've projected things onto Tesla factories and stuff about Elon Musk, facts about him and the bare truth about him. So, as well as a myriad of other things in politics. Check them out, people. Yeah, this thing with it, I don't buy this thing with the 15-minute cities. I don't know about that. I've heard that phrase being sort of thrown around for a few years. In fact, at one point I was, actually asking members of the public about certain things, and that kept coming up in a canvassing thing that I was doing. I definitely think Starmer's trying to head towards car-centric logistics in this country, car-centric development, the same way it is in America. America is just caters to drivers of cars, that is. I mean, even now, look, there's so many cut and paste towns here in England, at least. You know, the retail parks, and insert short list of retailers plastered all over, and there's the fast food chains, and very cold, soulless places I tend to find, if you ever find yourself having to go to one. We're on about eggs. There's an egg discussion in the chats. Right, I'll leave you to that. We better be getting on with PMQs in the meantime. So that means we'll be going over for another episode of Keith's Catchphrases, people. Exclusive content, quality content here on My Left Eye.
We now come to Prime Minister's questions.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Deliver. Black hole.
Plan for change.
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 Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
It's okay, people. The microphone was just doing the shit with the thing again. Back very quickly. So yes, here we are, another episode, another edition of Keith's Catchphrases. This will be my initial analysis and reaction to PMQs today, but of course, doesn't take a genius to have noticed how repetitive the phrasing has come over the months. So there are 4 examples you can see on the screen of phrases that Keith likes to throw around in interviews and at the dispatch box, as we're going to be counting for the game. Here's just a quick review of the rules for anybody who's not familiar with them. So during PMQs, we select 2 phrases, and it's a one-on-one contest for which one gets mentioned the most. They have to be spoken by Starmer, that's the first rule. Second rule, they get knocked out after 2 successive losses, and then a new contender or champion will emerge. Slight variations are allowed as well, that's the third rule. So if Deliver, who's the current champion, if we get delivering, then that counts. Change is also the current contender. You can see changes, changing, for example. That'll be allowed. As long as it's in the same context. As long as it's in the same context, then it counts. Okay, we're all good on the rules. Excellent. Just make sure that our settings are in order for the game, and should be good to go. So I'll introduce our current champion. It's Postman Twat, who appears every time you hear Deliver. And the current challenger on their second attempt. So if change doesn't come through today, then it's time for another contender. It was 11-7 last week in favour of Postman Twat, and every time you hear one of the phrases you will hear this noise. Bada boop, bada bing. Okay. Not part of the game, but every time Starmer makes an attempt to tell a joke, you might hear this noise. Okay, let's get into it. Fingers crossed, could be challenging. That is where plan is concerned. Sorry, change is concerned. They both took a right hiding in the locals, didn't they? So there's going to be plenty of you did worse than we did. Okay, I'm all good to go, people. Without further ado, let's just kill the background music and take it away. Lindsay Hoyle.
We now come to Prime Minister's questions. Matt Bishop.
Thank you,
Question
Mr.
number one
Speaker.
again.
Rising
What a surprise.
tensions between India and Pakistan will be of serious concern for many across Britain. We are engaging urgently with both countries, as well as other international partners, encouraging dialogue, de-escalation and the protection of civilians. Mr. Speaker, Britain will fall silent tomorrow to mark the anniversary of VE Day. It is a day to remember our greatest generation, whose courage and selflessness won a victory over tyranny and evil.
Well, those two stories lined up pretty perfectly, didn't they? Let's let's not have World War III. Oh, by the way, war in Europe ended this time 80 years ago. Well, it'll be tomorrow, the actual date, of course.
Past and present, the service of our armed forces defends our freedom, protects the values that we stand for.
Sorry, Davina, I can't change the video. It's a download. Otherwise, because then it cuts out the possibility of any buffering, you see. So, yeah, sorry, I can't change the video. I could zoom in a bit so the signer, if the signer's putting anyone off, well, that'll do. You might just see the hand. The bright side is, on occasion, it'll look like they're reaching over and slapping Jonathan Reynolds or Keith there. Probably won't reach Angela Rayner from that distance. But, is that any better? What do you think, people? Okay, unless there's any further objections, I will crack on.
And makes this country so proud. Mr. Speaker, the landmark deal we've secured with India is a huge win for working people in this country. After years of negotiation, this government has delivered in months, slashing tariffs, boosting wages, unleashing opportunities for UK businesses. It's the biggest trade deal the UK has delivered since we left the EU.
And a double deliver.
Mr. Speaker, this morning I had meetings with ministerial colleagues and others. In addition to my duties in this House, I shall have further such meetings later today.
Thank you, Mr.
And
Speaker.
2-0 already.
In
That was just the
2018,
opening.
My constituent Richard Wellington was diagnosed with glioblastoma and given just 12 months to live.
Proceedings as well.
Against the odds, he's still with us today. He knows his time is limited, however, and is determined to leave a legacy by improving brain cancer treatment for others. His courage is inspiring and shows extraordinary resilience. But, Mr. Speaker, patients with brain tumours fell through the cracks in our healthcare system under the Conservatives, and this must end. Will the Prime Minister set out how Labour will...
I should also point out, if anyone is watching who's deaf and you want the signer back up, just let us know. I've not put the scores up, have I? Right, so it's 2-0, there you go. There's Postman Twatu's in the lead. 2-0. And we're just getting started. Could be a route.
Speed up cancer diagnosis and improve treatment times for brain tumour patients such as Richard as we go further with our plan for change.
Mr. Speaker, can I send my best wishes, and I'm sure the House, to Richard and to every family living with cancer for their courage and fortitude. Can I also pay tribute to the my honourable friend for Mitcham and Morden, for her work to raise awareness of the devastating impact of brain cancer. I'm really proud that our plan for change has already delivered faster diagnosis for more than 80,000 cancer patients. We're rolling out Cancer 360, Mr. Speaker. That's groundbreaking new technology that will slash treatment delays across the NHS, investing in more scanners, surgical hubs and radiotherapy machines. It's important work that is only happening because of our decision to make a record investment in the NHS, opposed by every other party.
Leader of the Opposition, Kemi Ben.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And can I echo the Prime Minister's comments? It was an honour to meet veterans at the VE Day parade on Monday and to commemorate the sacrifice of that generation. I look forward to marking VE Day at Westminster Abbey tomorrow. Does the Prime Minister now admit that he was wrong to remove the winter fuel payment from millions of pensioners?
Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the number one job of this
Well, they might be doing a U-turn. That's one of the rumours.
Back in order after the last government lost control. That is, and to deal with the 22 billion black hole that they left. Because of our action, we've stabilised the economy. We've invested record amounts in the NHS with a payment out for the 3 million lowest paid. And of course, we're committed to the triple lock, which improved pensions by £470 last year. And Mr. Speaker, because of the work that we've done, we're a country that countries like India want to do deals with because of the messages and the work that we've done.
Mr. Speaker, the only black hole is the one the Prime Minister is digging.
Sorry, I just, at the end there, when it died down, overheard someone say, "What about pensioners?" But then I just got to think about this India deal. Apparently isn't a lot. It's somewhat post-dated, shall we say. I think it's a few billion stretched all the way down the road to 2040. So over 15 years. It will be a very slight incremental increase, but nothing significant where trade's concerned. Certainly doesn't call for striding around the place as though it will replace the GDP and trade lost when we left the the customs union. Single market. It's a trade union then. Kemi, go without her. Doesn't she normally wear a jacket? Just the blouse. Maybe she's trying a new tactic. She's trying to dazzle Starmer with her sparkling white shirt.
This issue affects...
She's going door to door with the detergents. As part of the Tory challenge.
Some of the poorest and most vulnerable pensioners. His mayor in Doncaster says it's wrong. Yeah. His First Minister in Wales says it's wrong. Yeah. Even his own MPs are saying it's wrong.
She looks like a barrister. She looks like...
He's refused to...
Yeah, she looks like a barrister who was late and didn't have time to get properly clad. Yeah, for the occasion.
Listen to me on this. Will he at least listen to his own party and change course?
Yeah. Mr. Speaker, let's spell this out. All the parties opposite would take this country back to where it was a few years ago. Broken public finances, interest...
It is, Keith. It is. It's more of the same. If anything, you've got your foot down on the pedal even further on a lot of issues. You sprinkle some of the stuff around the edges with some free kids' meals and a bit of VAT on private schooling. That doesn't eclipse things like PIP payments, winter fuel allowance, the country's stance on Gaza, and the refusal to fully sanction Israel, things like this. And that's what's in the public consciousness now. It's on your watch. 10 months. 10 months. I think it's plenty of time to start to show a proper turnaround, but there hasn't been that. They're both too busy trying to outflank reform to the right. That's all they want to do. They're just shitting their pants over what Farage is doing. That's why they both took such a drubbing in the local elections. Neither of them seem aware of this at this point. So this back and forth is completely deluded and avoiding the elephant in the room, which is that they are so alike, and that is why they've both failed and lost hundreds and hundreds of councillors between them.
Rates through the roof, NHS waiting lists at all-time high, because no other party in this House is prepared to say how they would put the finances straight. No other party is saying how they would invest in our NHS and public services. No other party is focused on the long-term prosperity of Britain. No one on this side, Mr. Speaker, is denying how big the challenges that we face, but no one on that side of the House is even prepared to take those challenges on.
Paraphrasing just back to the original question, I think he's going to end up having to do a U-turn on it, because this will stick with him for a while. This will last. This won't have just hurt him in the locals. This will keep coming back on the doorsteps year on year, roughly every winter as well, is where we'll probably hear the most about it. It's not going to go away, so he's probably going to have to do another U-turn on it, if he's got any political nous whatsoever. But of course, that outside of being a careerist in terms of decent policy, I don't know, it's somewhat lacking, I think.
Mr. Speaker, we wouldn't balance it on the backs of pensioners. Pensioners are poorer and colder because of his decisions. All the while, energy has got more expensive for everyone. Why has the Prime Minister broken his promise to cut energy bills by £300?
Mr. Speaker, the way to bring energy bills down for good is to deliver cheap, clean, homegrown energy. And in the meantime, we've extended the Warm Homes discount to 6 million households, 1 in 5 families. That's £150 off the bills next winter. But what won't bring energy bills down is the Leader of the Opposition's policy, leaving us hooked on fossil fuels at the mercy of dictators like Putin. I'll tell you what...
Oh, God. I mean, I'm not fighting Badenoch's corner here, but she directly asked him why he hasn't come through on that £300 pledge. He's trying to gloat about doing something that's worth roughly half of that, which is even if he did it anyway, and if you crunch the numbers, it might not even be £150. We know there are proper ways to reduce people's energy bills very significantly, i.e. a transition to renewables. Starmer doesn't want to know about that. He's certainly, certainly is red-faced over this one. Even Kemi Badenoch can score this open goal.
Else won't bring bills down. It's them blocking every infrastructure that's needed in their own backyards. They balance the books, they crash the economy on the backs of millions of working people in this country. That's why they delivered the verdict they did at the last general election.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister talks about clean energy. We have the second highest amount of renewables on the grid in Europe, and yet we still have the highest energy bills. This is not about clean energy. The Prime Minister has broken another promise. He won't admit it, but isn't the truth that he can't cut energy bills because of his net zero policy?
Energy bills on fossil fuel have fluctuated massively in the last 3 years because we're exposed to the international market. The only way to get bills down is to go to renewable energy. It's something she used to believe in.
Then do it. Bloody do it. Like yesterday. Jesus Christ. Just had like the hottest end of April, going into the hottest early May. Get with it, man.
Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I've got the Shadow Chancellor here, his previous words. Net zero, the shift must happen now as a matter of urgency. His words, it's no longer an environmental issue. Energy independence should be reviewed as part of our national security. He must have our lines, I think, Mr. Speaker. But what about the Leader of the Opposition herself? This is what she said. We believe...
He's not... Yeah, you're right, Andy. We're still way behind on the targets. These are legally binding targets that have taken place at summits, that have been agreed at summits. We're not the only country responsible for that, but we have to be responsible. We have to do our bit. We have to stick to what we've agreed, at the very least, out of decency, but also to set an example to other countries that were willing to sacrifice private profits in the hands of few people for a livable future. I don't know if that seems like a fair swap to you people, and to help unburden millions of families who can't even afford to pay the bills. I don't know if that seems like a fair swap to you, if you're reaching for the small violins for the billionaires right now. But I'm certainly not. Keith's not doing enough. Keith's not doing enough. And I know that, obviously, JSO aren't continuing taking action anymore, but the people, I think, will not suffer this, and you're going to see further protest from other organisations about this, definitely.
That green trade and investment will be the future-proofing force that will help us create better tomorrow. And then she went on to say this, Mr. Speaker. It's long-term investment in nuclear and renewables that will reduce...
Oh, nuclear? Well, at least he said that's long-term, but that's not an investment. That's selling out our future. It won't help to reduce carbon immediately, which is what we need to do. We don't just need to do it immediately. We are now getting behind. This is according to the science, of course. Never forget that Professor David King quote, people. What we do in the next 2 to 3 years will determine the future of humanity. It's the most important part of the statement. He said that 3 years ago. He said that in 2022. Or it may have even been late 2021, just to illustrate just how far behind we are. Nuclear isn't going to make a dent in that, is it? If you set up a facility that takes 2 decades to go online to start providing energy on the grid, it takes a small number of months to set up a wind turbine or tidal power, and you start to reap the benefits immediately. He did mention renewables, but as I just said, he's not going far enough on that. What he also isn't saying is that he believes in all this carbon capture nonsense, this fantasy of this technology that doesn't exist. He's putting billions into it. He's putting billions into a technology that doesn't exist. Maybe he's been on the phone to Elon Musk, you know, Hyperloop and all that. Have you got a crazy idea? Yeah, we'll invest. Carbon capture technology. Give me a break.
Our dependencies on fossil fuels and keep down consumer costs. Now, she's got a reputation apparently for straight talking. She was right then, wasn't she?
Mr. Speaker, this approach to net zero is irrational. It's doomed to fail. Those aren't my words, they're Tony Blair's. He wants to throw words back, he should speak to him. But the truth is,
to be honest, he really did throw a spanner in the works there to contradict Starmer in that fashion. I guess he's Starmer being such a puppet such the sort of protege of the likes of Tony Blair and Peter you know who. So that did actually surprise me when it first came out. There was a massive pushback against what Blair said. He's of course got massive interests financially in fossil fuels himself, of course. Just didn't think he'd be so public and brazen with it. It wasn't just a word in Keir Starmer's ear. It was, a very public statement.
Prime Minister is on another planet. His net zero plans mean ever more expensive energy. Across the country, jobs are disappearing. Last week, a ceramics factory in Stoke closed because of energy costs. This morning, 250 more job losses have been announced in the North Sea. And yet, the amount of gas the UK is importing is doubling. So why is he shutting down the North Sea rather than getting our oil and gas out of the ground and making energy cheaper?
Mr. Speaker, as I've said many times, oil and gas will be part of the mix for many decades to come. But net zero, Mr. Speaker, is an opportunity to be seized. We've had over 43...
Watching these two doing this right now, this is a faceless channel. I literally can't look. I'm listening. I can hear what they're saying. I have to listen out for the changes and delivers as well, of course. But I'm just doing the sort of, pinching the space between your eyes with my eyes firmly closed, not being able to believe what I'm hearing. This is how you, if you're watching in the future, people, this is how your time, your presence was represented here in the past, and on behalf of the human race, at least within the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. I do apologise, even though I'm not responsible. I didn't vote for this. We didn't vote for this here in this chat, here on this channel. This wasn't what we wanted, but this is what we got. Give me strength.
£1 billion invested since July of last year in clean energy. That's good for the economy, good for business, good for jobs, apprentices and growth. Mr. Speaker, the global race is on for the jobs of the future, and I believe Britain can win that race. The Leader of the Opposition, I don't think, is yet a climate denier, but she's a climate defeatist. She doesn't believe in Britain's ability to win the race for our economy, businesses and jobs. And they've never backed Britain. There's nothing patriotic about that.
Defeat the climate.
Mr. Speaker, he's got no answer, but he couldn't even bring himself to say something. He couldn't even bring himself to say something to the 250 people who found out that they lost their job this morning. The fact is, pensioners are poorer and people are being laid off. From winter fuel to net zero, his energy policy is a disaster and everyone knows it. We know it, the public know it, the unions know it, his MPs know it, even Tony Blair knows it. His only answer is to go further and faster in the wrong direction. Why should we all suffer because he won't admit he has got this wrong?
Mr. Speaker, of course nobody wants to see job losses, but she should address her comments to the tens of thousands of men and women in this country working on renewables for the future of our country and tell them that she doesn't want that. That is anti-growth, anti-jobs and anti-working people. But every week, Mr. Speaker...
Yeah, you have to throw your hands up and say that within the fossil fuel industry, people will lose jobs. That's not to say that a great many of them, if not all of them, can be reskilled in the same industry, but in renewables, it will, of course, need personnel to keep it running. But the main point is, again, speaking about the past, the present and the future. In the past, for a very long time now, we've banked our entire economy on these commodities which are finite. The sort of commodity that is actually physically backed up. Gas and oil. So putting all of your eggs in one basket with something that is going to run out at some point for a start, but even before it runs out, it's going to destroy the planet, it's going to destroy ecosystems and create an unsustainable future. And they put everything that they've got onto it, and then people will complain. That's almost like, you know, let's say you got some sort of sickness or injury, or, you know, like going to the dentist or something like that. Yeah, you'll have to go through a little bit of pain, but overall you've stopped the infection. And it's like fossil fuels are an infection, they are a disease, and the mindset, the obsession with them is a disease as well, because that's linked into the psychopathic mindset of capitalism.
She comes along to talk the country down, to cart from the sidelines. She can't even bring herself to celebrate the deal we've done with India. They took 8 years fiddling around and got absolutely nothing. We've delivered the best deal since we left the EU, the most ambitious deal for India, which has been measured in billions of pounds into our economy and thousands of jobs in the country. She should be welcoming that.
Weston.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. UK automotive faces major challenges, and Trump's tariffs are the latest crisis to hit the industry. Investment and jobs are now on the line, from Mini to McLaren, Aston Martin, Jaguar Land Rover, and many others. Will the Prime Minister continue to make their case in his talks with the US regime and remain a champion for this vital sector, unlike the Honourable Member for Clacton, who believes that Jaguar deserves to go bust?
Mr. Speaker, he makes a very good point. We are backing British car companies like JLR, and our India trade deal will see tariffs slashed for car sales, and that is good for British jobs. And the criticism on the double taxation is incoherent nonsense. It's a benefit to working people. It's in the agreements that we've already got with 50 other countries. And if the member for Clacton or the leader of the opposition is seriously suggesting that they're going to tear up agreements with 50 other countries, create a massive hole in our economy.
Normally the cameras would cut away. I was poised for the relevant memes to go over the top, but maybe he's not in the chamber.
They should get up and they should say so.
Leader of the Liberal Democrats, Ed Davey.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As we celebrate 80 years since Britain led our allies to victory over fascism, can I, on behalf of the Liberal Democrats, pay tribute to all those who struggled and sacrificed so much for our freedoms today? And can I associate myself with the Prime Minister's remarks about the conflict in Kashmir, and with him urge restraint and de-escalation on both sides? Mr. Speaker, among the messages voters...
Can you imagine Keith on the phone there to you bloody want some, do you? You bloody want some? Well, I'll give it to you if you don't stop this and straighten it out.
Sent ministers last week. One stood out. Bring back the winter fuel payment for millions of struggling pensioners. So people will be disappointed the Prime Minister failed to do that today. Mr. Speaker, he says he wants to go further and faster to clean up the mess left by the Conservatives. But on social care, so crucial for our NHS, he's going slower.
Super Tiny, welcome to the chat. Great to see you this evening.
Commission take 3 years. We learned on Friday the government plans to take an extra 7 years to implement it, not till 20.
And we've got a doctor in the house as well. Nice to see you.
So will the Prime Minister rip up that timetable, make sure he doesn't repeat the mess made by the Conservatives, and get on with fixing social care this year?
Mr. Speaker, as he knows, we're taking this in 2 stages.
Davy's, got the big boots on now that they've made some very significant gains in those locals, hasn't he? Really, he'd normally just be sort of joking around a sort of sombre question. He'll touch on some sensitive issues, of course, but that was quite boisterous. You don't normally see him getting that worked up. Maybe he's trying to strike while the iron's hot.
Already taking measures to increase the support for social care, quite right too, and doing the long work to reform and make sure we put a system in place. But can I just say to him once again, he comes here every week saying we should spend...
There was...
Mr. Speaker, as he knows, we're taking this in two stages. We are already taking measures to increase the support for social care, quite right too, and doing the long work to reform and make sure we put a system in place. But can I just say to him once again, he comes here every week saying we should spend more money, and he comes here at the same time saying he doesn't want to pay for any of the measures to raise that money. That is nonsense.
Get it off the screen.
Mr. Speaker, I'm disappointed with that answer, and I will keep coming back to hold the Prime Minister to account. Mr. Speaker, people also
still not
want
working,
a
I
government
can't get.
that will stand up for our country against Donald Trump. Mr. Speaker, first he came for our steelworkers and our car makers with his outrageous tariffs. Now Donald Trump is coming for our world-leading British film industry. So will the Prime Minister work with our allies in Europe and in the Commonwealth and make clear to President Trump that if he picks a fight with James Bond, Bridget Jones and Paddington Bear, he will lose?
See, that was more of an Ed Davey question. See what I mean? Just because... well, if that happened, surely Paddington Bear and Bridget Jones would just sit down and leave it to James effing Bond, who's considerably more nails than either of them will ever be. No offence to Bridget Jones and Paddington fans out there. Don't want to upset anybody.
Mr. Speaker.
I mean, come on, this is what people... You know how long it takes to get a question asked in this chamber? And then they... Bloody hell. Bloody hell. It's very unclear what's even going to come of all this thing with films, by the way, because you don't have a clear definition of what an American film is. A British film makes. Is that the distributor, director? These questions are being put. It's more hyperbole from Trump, and now it's being debated in the House of... Well, I say debated. They're all having a laugh there, but they really shouldn't entertain it whatsoever, as far as I'm concerned.
He really should listen to the sectors that he thinks he's championing. They do not want us to abandon the work we're doing to try and get an agreement with America. They want that agreement to reduce tariffs. That's the sensible, pragmatic way to protect our national interest. It is not sensible or pragmatic to choose between the US and the EU, to abandon the work we're doing on trade with the US and leave the tariffs exactly where they are. That's the most damaging thing that could possibly be done.
Jack Abbott.
Refer to the House as my register of interest. Mr. Speaker, for young people in Ipswich, there is no shortage of ambition, just a need for greater opportunities. And that's why last autumn I was proud to sign an agreement with Socialist, guaranteeing 500 jobs for people in my town, alongside additional investment for Suffolk New College's courses on welding, engineering and fabrication, so kids in my town can access the well-paid, secure skills jobs on offer. So therefore, can I urge the Prime Minister to support a final investment decision for Sizewell C, not just for our country's energy security, but also for the once-in-a-generation opportunities for young people in Ipswich and Suffolk?
Well, Mr. Speaker, it's good to see a local Labour MP fighting for jobs in his constituency.
Anybody from that area watching live, let us know. Always let us know if you see your MP appear and ask a question.
In 14 years.
Deliver there.
We're unashamedly pro-nuclear, pro-growth and pro-jobs. That's why we're making it easier to build small modular reactors and scrapping absurd rules that left vital projects tangled up in needless paperwork.
This is going to be very one-sided,
we're doing the work that they failed to do in 14 years.
Stephen Flynn.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Prior to the election, the Prime Minister promised that energy bills would come down. They continue to rise. He promised that he would save the refinery at Grangemouth. It's shut. And of course, he promised that he would unleash a generation of secure energy jobs in my city of Aberdeen. Well, today, Harbour Energy, the largest independent player in the North Sea, have announced that they are about to shed their workforce by 25%. That's 250 jobs in my constituency gone in the blink of his eye. And do you know who they blame, Mr Speaker? They blame the policies of the Labour Party. So can I ask the Prime Minister, in fact, can I invite the Prime Minister to come to Aberdeen and explain to my constituents why he is willing to move heaven and earth to save jobs in Scunthorpe while destroying jobs in Scotland?
Because he's an establishmentarian and, you know, a unionist, and he doesn't believe in an independent Scotland, which is the right answer, but he's probably not going to even bother going to Aberdeen. As proposed. What have you got, Keith? What sort of middle finger? He's going to do the party politics thing here. I think he's going to start to try and bash the SNP. This is my first genuine reaction, by the way. I'll guess on the NHS, for example, he'll try and criticise their record on the NHS because he knows he's going to get a drubbing in Scotland at the next general election. However, we're going to look at the latest polling from there directly after PMQs, and it's drawn up what one or two people might consider a bit of a shock.
Mr Speaker, nobody wants to see job losses, but I'd remind the right honourable member that before we came into office 10 months ago, the SNP government in Holyrood, alongside the Conservative government, did absolutely nothing for projects like Granmouth. Absolutely nothing. In Grangemouth, we have committed £200 million to secure the future for the site, delivered a £100 million deal. We're helping with the training guarantees that are needed. But just like his First Minister, the Honourable he'll raise anything to distract from their disastrous record. Almost 1 in 6 Scots stuck on an NHS waiting list, standards and violence.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. I'm your host, Lefty. Tonight on I King Called It, almost in verbatim, that illustrates just how predictable he is, to be honest. My God.
Scottish schools, over £1 billion cut from local government. We gave them the biggest settlement since devolution. They've been in power for nearly 2 decades. They've got absolutely nowhere to hide their appalling record.
I saw that one coming. Stu, speaking of seeing things, nice to see you as well. And I'm reliably informed by Stu that the name is a Doctor Who reference. So thanks a lot for clearing that one up, Stu. Nice to see you, brother.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Can I thank the Prime Minister for recently visiting the now royal port of Barrow in my constituency to lay the keel for the new Dreadnought-class submarines recently. He will have seen how proud we are to build our nuclear deterrent, which keeps us safe.
What? No. 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 What? Hey, everyone. Look. Do you know how much we could destroy with these things? Deterrent. If they're a deterrent, right, then surely everyone needs one. Like, you just stop at one. If just having one is a deterrent, then just stop at one. Otherwise, doesn't it obviously display an intention to use it if you're being strategic with where you place all of them, for example? The shit ton that you have doesn't exactly reek of peace, does it, people?
As we move forward with our plans for change, does the Prime Minister agree with me that Barrow and Furness can provide a blueprint for the whole country with defence investment, creating jobs, growth and prosperity in communities right across the UK?
Yeah. She's absolutely right, Mr. Speaker. Royal Barrow is a model for how defence can be a catalyst for the skilled, well-paid jobs right across the United Kingdom. And I was proud and humbled to thank the crew of the Vanguard submarine returning home after months away, including 4 of those on board who are returning to their newborn children. That's the change that will come.
Change, just quickly before I forget. Getting back into the game slightly. It's 8-2. But he mentioned those families and their children. And, certainly what he's doing doesn't bode well for future generations of citizens. So, you know, it almost makes my skin crawl when politicians make statements like that. It was a pleasure to see these kids whose future I've condemned. Yeah, great. I was clapping and smiling for hours.
From spending 2.5% of GDP on defence for the first time since the last Labour government. Extra investment in Barrow has been made possible by my honourable friend and this government because the party opposite made promises, but as usual, they never ever set the money aside.
Testament.
Always money for war, people. Always money for war, but not to help out the poorest in society.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ahead of the 80th anniversary of VE Day, may I thank the Prime Minister for his government's recognition of the highly dangerous and clandestine work of the 1,746 pilots and navigators who form the RAF's photographic reconnaissance squadrons and the 635 Buckinghamshire-based photographic interpreters, often forgotten, by marking their service with a national memorial near the Churchill War Rooms. They had a near death rate of 50% and only 2.5 months life expectancy. But they still captured.
So as someone's phone's going off there, I hope they they could be getting reprimanded in a moment. That's very bad form indeed. Just want to point out there's a whiff of something in the air, isn't there, people? I don't know if you can smell it. Yeah. Oh, is it enforced patriotism or implied and whatnot? We're having 2 questions in a row about the armed forces. PMQ's the day before VE Day. As things start to ramp up between India and Pakistan. Yeah, I don't think that's coincidence. Andy Carter with a shot and a hit. Thank you very much again. Another gifted membership. Takes us to 81. Thanks a lot, brother. Kira, hope you enjoy those perks. Let's get back into PMQs. Thanks again, Andy.
26 million images of enemy operations, providing daily up-to-date intelligence via the interpreters' analysis to the strategists in the Cabinet War Rooms for all our armed forces. I'd ask the Prime Minister to join me.
Someone's phone's going off. They're all talking over her. What's Lindsay Hoyle doing? Picking his nose?
When this national memorial is unveiled, to pay our respects to the likes of the late Captain Wilfred Bruce Tilley, DFC, of Axbridge in my constituency, and the other amazing young men and women.
Come on, do you...
Work was so critical to the safety of millions of people in this country and
Hello,
elsewhere.
Lindsay Hoyle.
Well, can I thank her for raising this really important issue? And I'm sure members across the House would support a memorial to the service and sacrifice of those veterans. The bravery and service of individuals like Captain Tilley and others in the photographic reconnaissance units and photographic interpreters saved the lives of many servicemen and servicewomen, and of course civilians, at the cost, as she rightly points out, of many casualties, in fact, of those units. So as we mark the 80th anniversary of VE Day, we will remember them who helped secure our greatest victory.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the London Borough of Hackney spends £54 million a year and rising on temporary accommodation.
I think he's got his history mixed up. Let me say that our finest hour, our greatest victory was the Battle of Britain. I don't know, that's it. I'm not sure if he remembers exactly which country put their flag on the Reichstag. It certainly wasn't the Union fucking Jack up there, was it? Or the Star Spangled Banner.
Not only is this costing the taxpayer dear, but it's wrenching families apart, communities rent asunder, schools are closing, and families are living in hostels in overcrowded rooms or far flung out of London. I welcome our pledge to build 1.5 million new homes. Will the Prime Minister reassure my constituents that social housing is a priority for him?
Is it balls?
Well, she's absolutely right. Families are desperate for security of their own home, and we're delivering the biggest boost to affordable and social housing in a generation, backed by an additional £2 billion of investment. And that and our reforms will supply our ambitions to build 88,000 new homes across London, including in her constituency. Mr. Speaker, at the same time, we're tackling the root causes of homelessness and, of course, scrapping Section 21 evictions.
Savage.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Under the Conservatives, inequality has surged, with now over 14 million people, including 2,000 children in the South Cotswolds, now living in poverty, while the richest 1% see
in the Cotswolds
their income soar. Of the
in the home counties in the Cotswolds. I'll let her carry on.
Countries, we are now the 9th most unequal. Will the Prime Minister listen to the Liberal Democrats, the public and many of his own Labour backbenchers and commit to reversing changes such as PIP, the winter fuel allowance and two-child benefit cap, and introduce clear poverty reduction targets to ensure that any economic growth benefits those who need it most?
Well, she's right to raise the appalling record of the last government, which saw 900,000 more children in poverty. Mr. Speaker, we're already delivering 750 free breakfast clubs, boosting the minimum wage for over 3 million. That's the lowest paid workers in our country. And the Child Poverty Task Force is looking at every lever that can be pulled. I'm very proud of the last Labour government's record on tackling poverty, and we'll continue to do that in this government.
Lady Stewart.
Mr. Speaker, last month's data showed the NHS lists in Wales fell by 3 months in a row. In England, the waiting lists have fallen by 6 months in a row. In Scotland, after nearly 20 years in charge, the SNP government have left our NHS on its knees. Instead, remarkable acts of charity from rock legend Rod Stewart are helping people to get the care they need. Will the Prime Minister agree with me that Scotland needs a new direction?
What? I thought this was going to be a really obvious planted question, and Rod Stewart's managed to prize his way. Is that because she's a Scot?
So that my constituents in Air Carrick don't rely on charity for their health care.
Well, I thank her for raising this issue. The contrast, as she points out, is stark. In England and Wales, waiting lists are falling with
maybe Starmer will give us a few lines of Rod Stewart, I'm not sure, but thanks a lot to Helena at Lord Justice for the raid, and warm welcome to anybody who's just joining us here. We're just getting through PMQs. Score's currently 10-2 on Keith's catchphrases, with Deliver edging Change by some considerable margin at the moment. Thanks again, No Justice. Please do hit the thumbs up button when you get here, Raiders. That'd be awesome. You're watching My Left Eye. This is the channel all about politics and society. It's the Socialist channel, Lefty channel. So you're all very welcome here. Limey Redneck, nice to see you again. And MIDI Doctors. Is that what that says? So we've got 2 doctors in the house. Very warm welcome to everybody. Let's carry on.
Over 3 million extra appointments already delivered. In Scotland, the SNP have just introduced, Mr. Speaker, their 5th NHS recovery plan in just 4 years. They've had the biggest budget settlement since devolution. Nearly 2 decades in power, they've still no idea how to fix the NHS, and they've run out of excuses.
John Burry.
Mr. Speaker, VE Day marked the end of horror in Europe, and afterwards, our post-war expansion of welfare benefits was something truly principled from Labour. So,
the Cold War wasn't exactly a holiday. I just want to just say.
given the real fear felt by disabled people in Brighton Pavilion and across the nation, will the Prime Minister agree that now is the time to be principled again and restore their support, not make his MPs vote to restrict it?
Well, I thank her for...
That was a good question. I did actually spot Farage there, lurking just behind her. Pointed out earlier, yeah, there he is. Bastard. They'd normally cut to him as soon as he was mentioned, but they didn't on this occasion, which is a bit strange, but he's definitely in session.
Brighton Pavilion and across the nation, will the Prime Minister agree that now is the time to be principled again and restore their support, not make his MPs vote to restrict it?
Well, I thank her for raising the record of the post-war Labour government, a great reforming government. Mr. Speaker, the principles remain the same, which is those that need support and protection should have that support and protection. Those that can be supported and helped into work should be helped and supported into work, something that isn't happening under the system as it is, and those who can work should work.
Fernandes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Ruth, that's quite correct in the chat.
Has a proud rail heritage, with Crewe Station boasting unrivalled 360-degree connectivity to all four corners of our country. So when the Conservative government took the decision to cancel the second leg of HS2, this was a great betrayal of my constituents, taking a sledgehammer to our town's prospects for regeneration and prosperity.
Well, Rod Stewart came up a question or two ago. He's on about sledgehammers. Maybe he's going to wedge Peter Gabriel into the conversation. Sorry, I just paused it to thank Graham Turner as well for that super chat. Thanks a lot. Really do appreciate it. In fact, I'm going to give that some love and appreciation right now in real time. Thumbs up on the lot. Solidari-Tea, Graham. Thanks again.
So will the Prime Minister look kindly upon proposals to extend high-speed rail north of Birmingham, utilising Crewe's unique strategic value to the rail network and bringing opportunity and prosperity to the north of England?
Well, Mr. Speaker, he's right to highlight the importance of stronger and more reliable rail connections, improving journeys.
Oh, we're so far behind the times on rail. Don't get me started on that.
Failed to grip delivery on HS2.
Tangent alert.
Costs went through the roof.
Deliver
Timelines were shredded. False promises and a total failure. Mr. Speaker, we're reviewing the position that we inherited, and we're committed to improving rail connectivity across the north. And we've already announced £415 million extra for the key Trans-Pennine route upgrade, which will slash journey times, deliver growth, and more reliable modern services for passengers.
He's really on one today, isn't he?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This week, the Israeli government approved a plan to officially
stopped on
conquer
his
Gaza.
round.
And just yesterday, Minister Smotrich vowed that Gaza will be entirely destroyed and that the Palestinians will have to leave in great numbers to...
Yeah, this is Shocker Adam, isn't it? Who, yes, just going to rewind this. Before we hear from Shocker Adam, I'm surprised about how far in the lead Postman Twat is, considering they normally go in tandem a lot, these two, you know, delivering change, delivering the plan for change. I thought we'd have a lot more of that sort of thing, but alas not. Yeah, Shocker Adam, you'll remember, unseated Jonathan Ashworth, didn't he? Ashworth has still been wedging himself onto people's TV screens. Unfortunately, we hear a lot more from him in mainstream media than we do Shocker, and he's asking what's going to be an important question about Palestine, I think. So let's see what he's got to ask.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This week, the Israeli government approved a plan to officially conquer Gaza. And just yesterday, Minister Smotrich vowed that Gaza will be entirely destroyed and that the Palestinians will have to leave in great numbers to third countries.
That is surely genocidal language. It's got to be. It's got to be.
This comes at the end of the extermination of over 50,000 Palestinian men, women...
From Israel, I mean, not from Shocker Adam, of course.
...and children, and something at the same time simultaneous expansion of illegal settlements in the West Bank, something I witnessed with my own eyes last week. So will now the Prime Minister finally acknowledge that ethnic cleansing is underway and to end all UK military cooperation with Israel, especially the illegal provision of F-35 fighter jet parts, or will he risk make Britain complicit in war crimes and be the Prime Minister to see Britain answer at The Hague for its role in this atrocity?
A great question, which I'm sure we'll see Starmer jump through hoops to sort of try and avoid at the moment. And it was great. It's great to see Shocker Adam being selected to ask a pertinent question as well. So yeah, let's throw up those flags and watermelons, please, people, in the chat. Solidarity with Palestine, as always, here on my left eye. Free Palestine. And we really do have to put proper sanctions in place, and a full 100% embargo, nothing less, would put us on the right side of history.
Well, Mr. Speaker, most of what he says is simply not right. But can I address? I do want to address the position in Gaza and the West Bank, because it is increasingly intolerable, and I am deeply
stop tolerating it.
Concerned, particularly with the lack of aid that is getting in and the impact it's having on tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of individuals.
Then stop tolerating it.
That concern is something I recently reaffirmed to the Prime Minister of the Palestinian Authority, where I asserted again...
The Palestinian Authority pander to the IDF. They pander to Israel certainly a hell of a lot more than Hamas do. We all know that. And there is a lot of animosity between Gazans and people in the West Bank, politically speaking, that is. That
a two-state solution is the only viable approach for peace. And our focus is on delivering peace for Palestinians and Israelis, returning to the ceasefire, getting the hostages out, and humanitarian aid in that is desperately needed in greater number and more quickly.
Maureen Batt.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As a result of a relation...
Just finally on his response there, all talk and no action, which is what we can expect from Starmer. Thanks a lot for throwing up the flags and watermelons in the chat there. Really do appreciate that. So, when are we going to see action? When are we going to see sanctions, divestment? People are doing it individually. A lot of the large companies that are financially backing Israel have seen huge drops in profits. But it's time to see our government do more. Deeds, not words.
Breakdown. My constituent Martin and his 3 children ended up homeless. They have gone from living in a hotel to temporary accommodation. Martin feels abandoned because Glasgow City Council haven't been in contact for months. Months of uncertainty has disrupted all their lives, but Martin is especially worried about the impact on his children's education.
Just want to say there's a very good Scottish representation here this evening, not only in the chat, seeing a few flags going up as well, but also in PMQs. We heard from Stephen Flynn earlier in other questions from Scots coming to the Prime Minister. Up Scotland. Free Scotland.
Like any father, he wants stability for his family, but the lack of social housing means they are stuck in complete limbo. Does the Prime Minister agree with me that every child, no matter where they live, deserves a safe home and access to a good education, and that in every part of the UK we need to build more social housing to end homelessness?
Yeah, well, we've already sort of had a similar question. He's going to give us the same roundabout answer. Just wanted to point out as well, for those of you who joined us from No Justice, I mentioned at the start that we're going to be going into some of the latest stats, the latest polling from Scotland, specifically straight after PMQs, and then into something else that has a Scottish theme as well. It's Pat McFadden's, the Pat McFadden experience, I should say. Try and to remember the name of my own content. So a lot more to come from Scotland on tonight's stream.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I'm deeply sorry to hear about Martin's case and absolutely agree with her comments about every family deserving a safe and a secure home. And in England, that's why we're investing an additional £2 billion to help deliver the biggest increase in social and affordable house building.
It's been in pretty much every answer.
But in Scotland, it is frankly disgraceful that over 10,000 children have no fixed home to call their own after nearly 20 years of an SNP government. Mr. Speaker, that's the highest level ever and shows why Scotland desperately needs a new direction.
Yeah, they need independence, don't they?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Last week, I was talking to Jason, a pub
There's not much
landlord,
longer of this left to go, people. We're almost
he's
there.
heard a rumour about the Prime Minister. Not that one, not that one. He's heard that there...
Which one's he? I'm not even going to say it. I'm not even going to say it because, yeah, laws are a thing. Lawsuits are a thing, specifically, I should say.
There is a reason why the Prime Minister hates Britain's pubs. Landlords like Jason are being battered by Labour's jobs tax and the slashing of small business rates relief, meaning that as many as half of Britain's pubs could be closed by 2030. Why does he hate Britain's pubs? And if he doesn't, why is he taxing them into extinction?
I mean, come on, people. We said this, was it on the last PMQs? Can't remember. But what images do the two words Starmer and pub drum up? all people have a picture of that is him getting thrown out of one during his leadership campaign, party leadership campaign. Get out my pub. That guy had to be restrained.
Mr. Speaker, nobody likes pubs better than me, and we support them. But, Mr. Speaker, it's the same old nonsense. They say they don't want the national insurance rise, but they don't have the courage to say they'd reverse it, because they know if they said that, they wouldn't be able to say where the money's coming from. That's how we got into the problem in the first place.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Few things are more harrowing than a parent's desperate and repeated attempts to access the mental health support their child needs.
I think he said there'll be half the pubs that there are now by 2030. Ian, thanks a lot for joining us in the chat also. Whilst we've got, I'll give a few shout-outs here, just while I'm quickly doing that. Reg Fairburn, Optimistic Nihilist. That's somewhat oxymoronic, but a nice warm welcome to you as well. Okay, let's crack on.
Organisations like Smile, a counselling service supporting young people in the Bathgate and Linlithgow constituency, are stepping into the breach whilst young people languish on waiting lists without the help they need.
Just want to quickly say, sorry, I don't mean to talk over this question or the issue, just about that clip about him getting thrown out of the pub. You're right there, Optimistic Nihilist, yeah, it is aged like a fine wine. The one thing that still astounds me to this day is that he thanked the guy. He kept saying thank you. And he repeatedly kept saying thank you to people who were berating him. Do you remember the one where he did the Arctic lorry test, driving test? He failed or something. He was doing some sort of, photo op sort of thing. And then the instructor turned around to him, told him he'd failed, and he said, yep, excellence.
Over the last decade, Smile
where's
has
his
been
head
a
at?
life...
Doc, thanks a lot for those 5 gifted memberships. Wonderful support there. Thanks again, Doc. Solidari-Tea. So that takes up to 86.
...flying for thousands. Will the Prime Minister join me in wishing Declan and the team at Smile a very happy 10th birthday and thank them for their invaluable work in supporting our young people and families?
Well, Mr. Speaker, can I join her and commend all the staff at Smile for their vital work. Far too many young people are left without the support that they need. And that's why we're recruiting an additional 8,500 mental health workers, providing access to specialist mental health professionals in every school, and funding talking therapies across the country to bring down waiting times and get people the care that they need.
Cough, cough.
With the so-called EU
Don't you believe it,
UK
people.
Reset
Don't
Summit
believe
less
a
than
word
2
they
weeks
say.
away, will the Prime Minister reassure the House that he will not hand over any British sovereign powers, particularly hard-won controls over our UK fishing waters, in backroom
Give
deals
over
with
what? Get a calendar. When you leave this place, that place, not the other place, that place. Just go. I don't know if you can get calendars like in May, but just get one anyway, or a diary with a calendar in it. Jesus Christ, she thinks it's 2014 or 2016, I should say.
Mr. Speaker, as she knows, we committed to resetting the relationship with the...
Now, this is something that Farage himself used to bring up. Eurosceptics used to bring up. They bring up fisheries. I think it was Max, when I used to watch Robespierre, that he would repeatedly point out that the size of the fishing industry is equivalent to that of the lawnmower industry in Britain. That's a stat that's always sort of stuck with me. It's been sort of, through the gauntlet that was Brexit. Bloody hell. Yeah, that's always stuck with me.
EU, we think there's a better deal that can be had. I'm not going to provide a running commentary. What I can say is this. It will be, we will act only as we always do in the national interest. We've secured a very good deal with India. We're talking to the US and we're going for a...
Fish? We're not going to get any fish from India, are we? Bloody hell. I'm not backing her up. But, yeah.
Reset with the EU to boost our economy.
Stockholm right.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Should be coming
as
to
you
the last
know,
question.
I'm alarmed
This
by
is probably the
news that the
penultimate
Press
one.
Association, which assiduously covers our exchanges here, may cut back its dawn to dusk coverage through redundancies. Now, Hansard faithfully records our words, but it's reporters in the press gallery which bear witness to the human drama here. And no amount of AI will replace the human eyes in the press gallery. Will the Prime Minister join me and my honourable friend from Rochdale in calling on the newspapers and media outlets which fund the Press Association to hold the front page and reconsider these rash moves?
Well, Mr. Speaker, he raised a really important point. We enjoy free press and independent journalism in this country. Across the world, journalists risk their lives and lose their lives doing what they do best.
Yeah, mostly in Palestine.
Independently pursuing the truth. And I've been on many occasions to award ceremonies, usually on a yearly basis, where the names of those journalists that have either lost their lives or their freedom is read out. And it's always a humbling reminder of the really important work that they do.
If you want me to think that you've been to some sort of gala where the names of Palestinian journalists who've been killed or other journalists internationally have been killed in Palestine, then, yeah, then I'm a Dutchman, as they say. Not a chance. Not a chance. This will be the last one. Come on, Lindsay, let's rock this shit up.
Final question, Mike Wood.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, as you know, Parliament has banned charging of electric vehicles in its underground car park because of safety concerns. And yet, local authorities around the country often feel powerless to stop the construction of battery energy storage systems near people's homes, near our rivers and canals, despite 3 fires already this year. Will the Prime Minister look again at his planning and infrastructure bill to make it easier, rather than harder, for local communities to have a meaningful say?
Mr. Speaker, I'm really proud that on our planning and infrastructure we're taking the action that hasn't been taken for years to drive our economy. And I'll remind him it was the thing that was signalled by the OBR as the single biggest driver of growth over the coming years.
That completes Prime Minister's questions. Let the front bench change over.
Well, that's it. It's over. Okay, 15-2 to Postman Swat. I just hope that whoever was asking that last question, sorry, I'm not familiar with their name, but I hope he realises in terms of local democracy that he's talking to the man who kicked out elected candidates so that he could parachute in people who he knew would brown nose him all the way and just do what he says. So what are your thoughts, people? What are you thinking about that PMQs? Let me know in the chats, or if you're watching back, in the comments. Good to see shock at Adam. That was a bit of a highlight for me. Very Scottish-based theme, so I thought. I'm with change, not having to, not coming out victorious, I should say. 15-2 defeat. They will be replaced on the next PMQ's episode. So the long-reigning champion still stands. He's ready to meet another contender next time. Let's see who that might be. Ian. Scotland lost all credibility when they changed the iron brew flavour. Potentially. Let's put that one out. Keep your feedback coming in on PMQs. That was it for PMQs that week, and another episode of Keith's Catchphrases.
We now come to Prime Minister's questions.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Deliver. Black hole plan for change. 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 Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
So we'll be back with another PMQs next week. We've got some other bits and pieces to get into. Let's start with this poll that I mentioned.
We now come to Prime Minister's questions.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Deliver. Black hole plan for change. Deliver.
Just clicked on that while I was skimming past. Apologies. Take a look at this. It's another Stats for Lefties poll. Just bringing this up now. So we do have a few Scots watching this evening. Let me know what you think about this. Hot off the press polling from Scotland. Give Stats for Lefties. Yeah, sorry about that there, people. These are the latest projections for seats. I'm really startled, sort of, what a jump that is from Reform, for a start. Not surprised that Labour have gone down further, and the Tories, of course. Well, the Greens have only sort of picked up 2 from that, and the SNP down as well. Pretty disappointing. So it's a Servation poll. A good point though, Reg. The Labour Party invented in Lanarkshire. Now it's led by a peer of the realm. Let's just see if there's any. They sometimes add extra sort of stats in the chart as well. But up 22. I know they've done okay in those locals. I say okay. Reform. But that'll put them in 2nd place in Scotland. Long way off though. Yeah, please share your thoughts with me on that. I'm just going to take a quick minute here, people, but I'm going to play something a little more uplifting now. Some more homegrown content here on My Left Eye. So please, I think this is is it the 3rd? I think it's the 3rd instalment of the Pat McFadden Experience. So do enjoy, and check out the other episodes if you've not seen any of these yet. Quality content.
And now on the Brews at 10, it's time for the Pat McFadden Experience. Please welcome the Duchy of Lancaster and life and soul of the party, Pat McFadden. Tonight's guest is Nigel Farage.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another episode with me, human foghorn, Pat McFadden. This week's guest is Reform leader Nigel Farage. Now, before we get into the interview, I should say that we actually booked Nigel to come on before last week's local elections. I was hoping for this to be a chance to gloat about fending off the far right, but embarrassingly, it didn't work out that way. Aye, true. Also true. One thing I was wondering though, was your immediate declaration after winning town councils. Yes, you said you'd be removing DEI positions from those councils. The problem with that is, there are no such positions being held in the places that you've taken control of. Okay. Didn't you just get back from there? Will that not upset your constituents? Interesting tactic. Some of the recent polls have predicted a hung parliament at the next general election. If that were the case, would you be prepared to form a coalition with the Tories? So, no coalition with Labour then? Hi guys, sorry for interrupting. Oh, for f***'s sake. Hi Pat, you'll be delighted to know that I found my phone charger. It was in the canteen. What am I like? What do you want, Wesley? Blimey Pat, I've never heard you shout like that before. Bit unhinged that, wasn't it? Anyway, I just wanted to ask Nigel, on behalf of the British taxpayers and my own personal financiers, if you win the next election, right, are you going to sell off the NHS to American private health firms? That's my job, you cheeky bastard. And you've taken everything else away from Oswald Mosley. You got less original ideas than Pat's got hairs on his head, meh. Shut up, Wesley.
But shut up, Wesley.
The Pat McFadden experience there, people. Yeah, very high production values, as you saw there. Right, just quickly onto one or two more bits. The hour's going a bit late, don't want to stay up too late. Well, let's take a look at this. I'm going to skip over the... It's not really any sort of story about the conclave, the papal conclave. That'll take whatever. Just the latest on Pakistan's response to India after those attacks yesterday. 26 people that were killed yesterday, you'll no doubt remember. I'm just going to go back over to screen. As Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif says, Pakistan responded to India's strikes by downing Indian jets. That's a claim that Delhi haven't confirmed. According to this is off the live feed, so it should still be unconfirmed. It was obviously a response. 31 people apparently have been killed, 57 injured by airstrikes in Pakistan and in Kashmir, which is administered by Pakistan. But retaliatory shelling is reported to have killed 15 civilians as well. I have mentioned on the channel before, when you think about full-scale warfare, when you think about nuclear warfare, the chances of it happening, this kind of thing, the usual countries that come into mind would be along the lines of US, Russia, this kind of conflict. But this has been going on in the background for some time. A lot of people have predicted that it's actually going to be the most likely catalyst for a nuclear war. That is, any kind of full-scale war between these two countries. Nothing's been declared. It's just important to reiterate that at this point. The sirens aren't going to be going off in the night. Sleep well in your beds this evening. That's just the latest on it. Lots of condemnation on both sides. I won't go through all of the quotes. Just Trump's thrown his 2 cents in, but I'm not going to bother repeating what he thinks about it. But we can but hope, people, that this just doesn't boil over. That's all I'll say on that for now. Keep my left eye on that situation. You'll have to bring the mood back up again after potential... It's only potential global nuclear fallout, it's not really anything to get worried about, people. So this one comes from an Instagrammer called Omar Badawy, and yeah, really good stuff, really good perception about how the right-wing media portrays and distorts events for their own ridiculous narratives. So do check out Omar Badawy if you're on the Instagrams. Good stuff here.
Glastonbury Music Festival in full swing.
Refugee camps flooding Britain.
London Marathon elite runners out in front.
African immigrants flee police in broad daylight.
Locals gather for park yoga.
Muslim prayers taking over public spaces.
White extremists carry out controversial gestures.
England football fans in great spirits.
Britain's town centres finally bouncing back.
Butcher Alley leads halal takeover of our high street.
South London blood donations increased due to successful campaign.
Black community plagued by heroin.
Light refraction science lesson in a primary school.
Gay agenda forced on school children.
New Tesco Extra opens in the area.
The working class continue to commit disability fraud.
Local school sports day gets ready for the dad race.
Jamaican community overwhelmed by single motherhood.
Very good. Check out Omar Badawy there. We don't have an Instagram account here on My Left Eye, so I'm not going to plug ours as well. Not sure if he does those regularly, but yeah, that was really good. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, they're thems and comrades alike. Time to give another shout out to the members on the channel. I'll just have to remove the chat briefly. Thanks again, everyone. Thanks for the gifted memberships on tonight's stream. That's been awesome, now up to 86. I'll be adding people's names to this list. Thanks to everybody as well for renewing your memberships. As I said earlier, that's super important. There's other ways you can support the stream as well. Thanks for the super chat as well, forgot to say as well, to Graham. Super thanks are also available if you're watching back later. And there's a Buy Me a Coffee page in the description of this stream and the channel description as well, so there are ways that you can help to sustain the channel. It can also really help give us a boost, give us a share across your social media. Make sure you've hit thumbs up on this stream whilst you're with us here tonight. Thanks again to all the members. brew crew is growing. We're expanding Brewdaism, or is it Christianity? Tea. I think there's quite a low chance that there'd be any channels still on to read into now, but you never know. Do follow a few channels over in the States who stream. So stick around, people, before I bring things to a conclusion. Tonight's Brews at 10. There is not a thing, not even anything scheduled, which is quite bizarre, so there won't be any raid after the stream. By the way, that Pat McFadden video is going to be out members only until sometime tomorrow, so if you want to check that out again, if you remember, you can enjoy that. Early viewings, one of the great privileges. There isn't a poll tonight, so I don't have to remind myself to read the results out. I'll wish you all a good evening. Whatever you choose to do, take care, everybody. My Lefty, I'll be seeing you soon. Free Palestine and power to the people.